Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, hi, I'm Olivia. If you like strange and creepy stories, then hit that subscribe button. Now, let's get in to the one dilemma that all murderers face. What to do with the body? Some bury it, some burn it, and still some preserve it, but none are as strange as the method of choice of a Hungarian serial killer, Béla Kiss, who preserved his bodies by pickling them. Little is known about Kiss before he was 23, at which point he was renting a home in Cinco, Hungary, on the outskirts of Budapest, running a prosperous tin business. His neighbors considered him a pleasant man. Kiss was an amateur astrologer and allegedly had a keen interest in occult practices. He began his career as a serial killer relatively late in life. In February of 1912, at 40 years old, Kiss's wife Marie, who was 15 years his junior, took a lover. By December of 1912, he was telling neighbors that Marie and her lover had run off to America together, leaving him alone. Detectives would later theorize that Kiss had killed his wife and her lover in a jealous fit of rage, but in doing so had released something dark and hidden within himself. In place of his wife, Kiss hired an elderly housekeeper, Mrs. Jakubek. Now an eligible bachelor, Kiss spent the next 2 years pursuing lonely women. He often wrote them letters, and sometimes he took them to his home. However, his housekeeper never really got to know any of them. Around this same time, Kiss began collecting large metal drums, informing the curious village constable that they were filled with gasoline, which was expected to be scarce with the approaching war in Europe. Meanwhile, Budapest authorities were seeking information on the disappearance of 2 widows who had not made contact with their friends or family in several weeks. Both women had last been seen in the company of a man named Hoffmann. Cincota's constable was aware of the investigation, but he saw no reason to connect Hoffmann with the quiet, unassuming Béla Kiss. Kiss was conscripted for war, and in July of 1916, after rumors began to circulate that Kiss had been captured and possibly killed in Serbia, his landlord began preparing the property to be leased again. But upon arriving at Kiss's house, he noticed 7 large metal drums sitting outside. The landlord decided to open one of the drums, which had been sealed shut. As soon as he punctured the lid, the landlord was hit with the stench of death. He immediately notified the Budapest police, who sent Chief Detective Dr. Charles Nagy, who opened one of the drums against the protests of Mrs. Jakubek. Inside was the well-preserved body of a woman, along with a rope used to strangle her. The other drums yielded similarly gruesome content, and a search of Kiss's house revealed a total of 24 bodies, 23 women and 1 man, all of whom had been strangled. He had also drained the bodies of their blood through the victims' necks, which earned him the moniker, the Vampire of Cinco. It would later be determined that he had filled the drums with wood alcohol, or methanol, then sealed them in an attempt to preserve the bodies. He essentially pickled them. Nagy informed the military that they should arrest Béla Kiss immediately, if he was still alive, and there was also the possibility that even if he was alive, he could be a prisoner of war. He then asked the Postal Service to hold any possible letters to Kiss, in case he had an accomplice that could warn him. Nagy also arrested the housekeeper, initially suspecting she had something to do with the murders, especially after it became known that Kiss had left her money in his will. But Mrs. Jakubek assured the police she knew absolutely nothing about the murders. She even assisted the police by showing them a secret room Kiss had told her never to enter. The room was filled with bookcases. Many of the books were about poisons and strangulation. There was also a desk that held a photo album and a number of letters, including Kiss's correspondence with 74 women. The oldest of the letters were from 1903, and it became clear that Kiss was defrauding women who had been looking for marriage. He had placed ads in the marriage columns of several newspapers and had selected mainly women who had no relatives living nearby. so that no one would notice if they disappeared. He wooed them and convinced them to send him money. If they proved troublesome, he strangled them with rope or his bare hands. Police also found old court records that indicated that 2 of his victims had initiated court proceedings because he had taken money from them. Both women had disappeared and the cases had been dismissed. The chaos of World War II, coupled with the common nature of Béla Kiss's name, made locating him extremely difficult. It wouldn't be until October 4th, 1916, when Nagy received a letter stating that Kiss was alive and recuperating in a Serbian hospital. By the time Nagy arrived at the hospital, Kiss had already fled, substituting a dead body of another soldier in his bed as a decoy. Nagy alerted the Hungarian police. Unfortunately, all of the tips they checked out proved to be false. Over the years, speculation arose that perhaps Kiss had faked his own death by exchanging identities with another dead soldier during the war. Rumors of his fate included that he had been in prison for burglary in Romania, or he had died of yellow fever in Turkey. He was also reportedly cited numerous times in the following years. In 1920, a soldier in the French Foreign Legion reported on another legionnaire named Hoffmann, the name Kiss had used in some of his letters, saying he fit Kiss's description and boasted how good he was at using a garrote. Whoever this Hoffmann really was, he deserted before police could reach him. The last reported sighting occurred in New York City in 1932, so to this day, his true fate and his true number of victims remains unknown. And that is the bizarre story of Béla Kiss.